I'll never forget that morning, 6 a.m. Fists pounding on my cabin door like they were trying to smash it off the hinges. Two men in sheriff uniforms barked that I was illegally occupying HOA land, HOA land, on property my family had held for over a century. That was the moment I knew this wasn't just a nosy neighbor feud. This was war, and someone was about to lose everything. Hỏi một, xung đột khởi phát. I'd moved out here 3 years earlier, to a quiet cabin by Lake Serenity, hoping to fish, read, and forget about city politics. My background was in land surveying, 20 years of measuring every crooked fence and disputed boundary line the county ever threw at me. I thought retirement meant peace. But then came Karen Whitmore. She showed up on my porch with a binder so thick it could have doubled as a doorstop. "Hello there, Mr. Martinez," she chirped, flashing this politician's smile that never touched her eyes. "I'm the interim coordinator for our new homeowners association." Her pitch was rehearsed. Monthly fees, paint color restrictions, even fishing hours on the lake. She used words like community cohesion and appropriate standards. But I caught the way her eyes lingered on my last name. Martinez. Like it was a problem that needed fixing. I handed her the binder back without reading more than the first page. I didn't sign up for an HOA, and I'm not about to. That's when her smile cracked. "Oh, this isn't optional. Participation is mandatory under state temporary community management provisions." Provisions. I'd spent 2 decades drowning in government code books, and I knew that was pure fiction. She didn't like that I called her bluff. Her eyes narrowed, cold and sharp. "You'll regret this decision, Mr. Martinez." Then she turned on her heel and marched off like she owned the whole lake. 2 weeks later, she sent her fake cops to my door. The badges were wrong, the paperwork full of nonsense, the whole thing one bad improv act. When I asked to verify their credentials, they bolted for their unmarked sedan. I stood on my porch recording the whole thing, heart pounding with a cocktail of anger and disbelief. That's when the truth hit me. Karen wasn't just a busybody with a clipboard. She was running a scam, and she thought I was an easy mark. Hoi hai, liêu thang, and chuyện thề. The harassment didn't stop. The next morning, an unmarked van blocked my driveway. 2 guys in private security polos leaned against it, arms crossed, like they were bouncers outside some nightclub. One called out, "Mr. Martinez, you'll need to remain on your property until compliance issues are resolved." I almost laughed. Instead, I filmed them, then dialed the real sheriff. Within 20 minutes, deputies rolled up, demanding licenses and permits. Those wannabe guards melted away fast. But the message was clear. Karen was done playing nice. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with a pile of old family documents. My grandfather had passed down surveying tools, maps, deeds, every scrap of proof that our land went back to 1887, bought fair and square by my great-grandfather after years of railroad work. I traced the ink on the brittle map, my hands shaking. The boundary line stretched further than I ever realized, all the way to the shoreline where Karen's shiny new HOA office sat. I leaned back in my chair, stunned. She hadn't just bullied the wrong neighbor, she'd built her empire on my family's land. But here's the thing. Even with proof in my hands, doubt ate at me. What if no one believed me? What if this dragged into endless court battles, drained me dry, left me hated by my neighbors? A part of me whispered, "Sell the place, move on, let it go." I almost listened. But then I thought of my grandfather, a man who swung hammers for the railroad until his hands cracked, who scraped together every penny to buy this land. If I rolled over, I wouldn't just lose a cabin, I'd erase his legacy. That's when something hardened in me. No more hiding, no more hoping Karen would quit. I was done being the quiet guy by the lake. I reached out to Deputy Mike Torres, one of the good ones. He'd seen Karen's paperwork before, even helped her once, thinking it was legit. When I laid out the demographic pattern, every family she targeted had Hispanic surnames. His face drained. Jesus. David. She set me up to help harass my own neighbors. We joined forces, and with the help of Sarah Chen, a civil rights attorney, we built a case. Discrimination, fraud, illegal construction. Every brick of Karen's little fiefdom was about to crumble. Hỏi ba, cao trào and công lý. Karen didn't wait for the courtroom. She showed up at my property with a mob supporters she'd duped. A guy in a cheap suit, she called her lawyer, and even a camera woman to film her enforcement action. She planted herself at the edge of my porch and announced in her best TV voice, "Mr. Martinez, you are in violation of 17 community standards. Continued non-compliance will result in formal removal." I let her finish, then spoke calmly, so every word carried. "Miss Whitmore, 3 questions. 1. Where's your state registration for this HOA? 2. Under what law do you claim the right to govern private property? And 3. Are you aware your office is built on my family's land?" That shut her up. I pulled out certified surveys, copies for everyone, maps, old and new, county records stamped and sealed. Since 1887, this shoreline has been Martinez land. Every day you sit in that office, you're trespassing. Her fake lawyer flipped through pages, sweating. Her supporters whispered, confused, and Karen went pale. "This is ridiculous," she shrieked, voice cracking. "You can't wave some old map and steal community property. There are procedures, proper channels." Right then, Deputy Torres pulled up, badge gleaming in the sunlight. "Proper channels," he said loud enough for the cameras. "Karen, your so-called office is an unpermitted structure on private land. You're facing fraud, impersonation, and trespass charges." Her crowd scattered like pigeons. Even her camera woman lowered the lens, muttering. Karen tried one last gasp threats about calling higher authorities, lawsuits, revenge. But it was over. 72 hours later, her office was taped off with bright yellow condemned signs. FBI agents moved in, hauling boxes of files that tied her to Pinnacle Development, a national racket stealing land from minority families. Fraud, racketeering, civil rights violations, you name it. They had her on it. And me, I stood on my porch, watching the demolition crews move in. The same porch where fake cops once tried to scare me into silence. Karen was led away in cuffs, spitting threats no one believed. Her empire crumbled into dust, right on the soil she thought she owned. I should have felt triumphant, but what I really felt was relief. Not just for me, but for every neighbor she'd targeted, every family she'd tried to erase. I'd almost walked away. I'd almost let fear win. But sometimes, the only way to honor the people who came before you, the ones who built something from nothing, is to stand your ground, no matter how much it costs. And that's exactly what I did. So here's the lesson. Power built on lies always collapses, especially when you shine the light of truth on it. This is Karen Drama, and I'll keep telling these stories until every HOA tyrant thinks twice about who they're messing with.